what is the science behind grounding? And how can I explain it to my husband who dislikes anything he perceives as hippie, woo-woo, or spiritual?
Sounds like me.
This is the number one question, because even I, who have benefited so much from earthing, I have trouble explaining it in a way that doesn't seem absolutely insane. But thankfully, we have Clint Ober here, who wrote this book with the medical doctor and Martin Zucker. And so there's a lot of science in the book. But what is the science behind grounding? How do I explain it to a layperson, Clint?
Well, I've spent 23 years trying to do that. And I'm still very challenged. But the thing I've learned over the years is the only way you can really explain what grounding, I can explain it technically. It's very simple. The earth has a negative charge. That's why we ground everything electrical to the earth in order to maintain electrical stability. The human body is the most electrical thing in our environment. And it used to be naturally grounded to the earth before the 60s when we invented rubber sole shoes. But everything in the body we need to be grounded and for electrical stability and primarily our immune system. But it takes a little bit to explain that. And most people don't want to learn the tech. They don't want to learn the science. They just say, if this works, give me two. I need one for me and one for my mom. But basically what I have learned is I started out grounding people one at a time 23 years ago. And then sometimes 100 at a time, sometimes 300. 500, 800. The longevity conferences with David Wolf, we would ground up to 1,500 people at a time. But by grounding people and letting them experience it for a half hour or an hour or 3 days during a seminar, it's life-changing. And people get up and say, why didn't somebody tell me about this? And it's really a challenge. So it's really the best way to understand grounding is to look at the Earthing movie, because there is a body of evidence that speaks to most women, moms, and caregivers, and then go outdoors, take a chair, take your shoes off, put the chair outdoors on the grass, put your feet on the grass, or just sit on the grass with your hands on your feet and experience grounding.
Yeah.
If you have inflammation and pain in your body, if you have pain in your body, you have inflammation. You can't have pain without inflammation. So what grounding does is it reduces the inflammation in your body. There's a whole science behind it. There's 20 peer-reviewed published studies on it. You have the Earthing movie. There's a plethora of material out there. But it's really as simple as going outdoors and doing your own study, putting your bare feet on the earth, putting your hands on the earth, and notice the difference. Or go to the beach for a few hours. And notice how you feel after you.
After I go surfing, I'm tired, but I always feel more relaxed when I get out of the ocean, for sure.
So, but it's really, it's all about, we used to be naturally grounded. All animals who live in nature, they are naturally grounded. They don't suffer cardiovascular disease, lupus, MS, autism, and cancer, and all of these modern health disorders. Yet the animals who live indoors with their owners, they all suffer the same health disorders as their owners, meaning 50% of them die from cancer just like their owners. But cancer rarely exists, if at all, in nature. So we've disconnected from this energetic source that maintains the electrical stability of the body and primarily the immune system.
Yeah. So you could, scientifically talk about the charge that the body holds and how this basically creates a perfect environment for inflammation to persist, and how grounding can kind of take out that electric charge. But really what I hear you saying, Clint, is seeing is believing. And that's how most of us really are. Try it out for ourselves to actually see how it works.
You got to do your own research.
Yeah.
But it's free.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable. It's fun.
Yeah, I totally. And so when I first heard about this, I'm like, okay, I'm in so much pain at the time, not anymore, thanks to Clint and thanks to Earthing, thanks to Mother Earth in general. He just helped reconnect me to the earth.
Yeah.
And what I realized is, I'm 40 now. I've been disconnected, even as there's pictures of me as a baby learning to walk with shoes on.
Yeah.
I have been so disconnected from the earth. And I didn't realize that I was an electrical being. I don't know a whole lot about biology. I don't know a whole lot about electricity. I don't know a whole lot about earth and electrons and negative charge versus positive charge. I know a lot now because I read Earthing. And what Earthing did for me is it made it real. Not only are there real life stories in your book of real life people who have healed, it convinced me enough without trying to convince me. It convinced me of seeing these other people.
Yep.
It's at least worth trying.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day that I went earthing, it was free. I had no product, no service, no subscription, no money paid. I
Right.
simply took my shoes off, put them in the dirt, and not instantly, but within an hour, I started to feel some relief.
Yeah.
And then I started grounding every night. Eventually, I went to Clint and got some. I paid for all of it. This is not a sponsored sort of thing right here. We got a grounding mat for my bed. We're standing on grounding mats here in our studio right now that connect us back to the earth. So you don't have to have any products. Earthing's 100% free. I was in the ocean this weekend, and how wonderful is that? Free earthing. But what I noticed after a couple weeks, after 6 weeks, my whole life had changed appreciably. And what I noticed is that grounding didn't heal me. It's almost as though it was removing the things that were creating the dis-ease in my life. Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.